Hello everyone. So I realized that I haven't been uploading the stories with Samantha, but I will be doing it now. I realize it's dark in this video and I'm so sorry. I only have one light on in my room. It's currently 10:40 at night. And I really didn't want to wait until tomorrow to upload the video. So I'm gonna read to you a book. It's kind of child friendly, I guess you could say. It's a book by Georgia Byng. I'm not gonna read to you guys my A Wrinkle in Time because my mother is borrowing the book, so I cannot kind of get at it at the moment. So I'm gonna just read another book for now. I don't know how much I'm gonna be reading of this, but I'm hoping I'm gonna read it all. So this is by someone named Georgia Byng, and it's called Molly Moon's Incredible Book of Hypnotism. It's right here. So, I hope you guys like it. I'm not going to read you the back because it's all part of the little book adventure. So here we go. I hope you guys like this, by the way. And because I'm reading this sitting on my bed at the moment because I was not feeling well today. So I finally feel better. So let's get straight into this. Chapter 1. Molly Moon looked down at her pink, blotchy legs. It wasn't the bathwater that was making them mottled like spam. They were always that color, and so skinny. Maybe one day, like an ugly duckling turning into a swan, her knock-kneed legs might grow into the most beautiful legs in the world. Some hope. Molly leaned back until her curly brown hair and her ears were under the water. She stared at the fly-speckled yellow paint that was peeling off the wall and at the damp patch on the ceiling where strange mushrooms grew. Water filled her ears, and the world sounded foggy and far away. Molly shut her eyes. It was an ordinary November evening, and she was in a shabby bathroom in a crumbling building called the Hardwick House Orphanage. She imagined flying over it like a bird, looking down at its great slate roof and its bramble-filled garden. She imagined flying higher until she was looking down on the hillside where Hardwick Village lay. Up and up she went until Hardwick House became tiny. She could see the whole town of Briarsfield beyond it. As Molly flew higher and higher, she saw the rest of the country, and now the coastline too, with sea on all sides. Her mind rocketed upward until she was flying in space, looking down at the earth, and there she hovered. Molly liked to fly away from the world's inner imagination. It was relaxing, and often, when she was in this state, she'd feel different. Molly had this special feeling tonight, as if something exciting or strange were about to happen to her. The last time she'd felt special, she'd found a half-eaten packet of candy on the pavement in the village. The time before, she'd gotten away with watching 2 hours of evening television instead of one. Molly wondered what surprise would greet her this time. Then she opened her eyes and was back in the bath. She looked at her disoriented reflection in the underside of the chrome tub. Oh dear, surely she wasn't as ugly as that. Was that pink lump of dough her face? Was that potato her nose? Were those small green neon lights her eyes? Someone was hammering downstairs. That was strange. No one ever mended anything at Hardwick House. Then Molly realized that the hammering was someone banging on the bathroom door. Trouble. Molly shot up and hit her head on the tap. The banging outside was very loud now, and with it came a fierce bark. Molly Moon, open this door at once. If you don't, I'll be forced to use a master key. Molly could hear keys rattling on a ring. She looked at the level of her bathwater and gasped. It was much too deep and well over the allowed level. She pulled the plug out and wrapped herself in a towel, just in time. The door swung open, and Miss Adderstone was in and darting to the bathtub, her scaly nose wrinkling as she discovered the deep, draining water. She rolled up her polyester sleeve and pushed the plug back in. As I suspected, she hissed. Intentional flouting of orphanage rules. Miss Adderstone's eyes glinted spitefully as she took a tape measure from her pocket. She pulled the metal strip out, making exciting slurping noises as she sucked on her loose false teeth. She measured how far Molly's bath had gone over the red line, painted around the sides of the tub. Molly's teeth chattered. Her knees were now turning blue and blotchy, and the palms of her hands began sweating, as they always did whenever she was excited or nervous. Miss Adderstone shook the tape measure, dried it on Molly's shirt, and then snapped it shut. Molly braced herself to face the wiry old lady, who with her short grey hair and hairy face looked more like a Mr. than a Mrs. "Your bath is 30 centimeters deep," Miss Adderstone announced, allowing for the amount that had been deceitfully run out while I was knocking at the bathroom door. "I calculate that your bath was actually 40 centimeters deep. You know that baths are only supposed to be 10 centimeters deep. Your bath was 4 times that deep, so you have, in effect, used up your next 3 baths. So, Molly, you are forbidden to have a bath for the next 3 weeks. As for a punishment," Miss Adderstone picked up Molly's toothbrush. Molly's heart sank. She knew what was coming next. Miss Adderstone glared at Molly with her dull black eyes. Her face heaved in a monstrous way as her tongue dislodged her teeth and moved them around in her mouth before settling them back down on her gums. She thrust the toothbrush at Molly. "This week you will be toilet monitor. I want the toilet spotless, Molly. And this is the brush you'll be using. And don't think you can get away with using the toilet brush, because I'll be watching you." Miss Adderstone gave one last satisfied suck on her teeth and left the room. Molly slumped down onto the sides of the tub. So the something that she felt was going to happen tonight was simply trouble. She stared at her worn-out toothbrush, hoping that her friend Rocky would let her share his. As she picked at a loose thread on her balding old towel, she wondered what it would be like to be wrapped up in a fluffy towel like the ones in TV ads. Softness is a sign everyone feels fine. Watch your house in Cloud 9. Molly loved ads. They showed how comfortable and happy life could be, filled with friends. Friends who were always happy to see Molly when she visited them in her mind. Wrap yourself in luxury time, Cloud 9. Molly was shaken from her towel daydream as the evening assembly bell rang. Molly winced. She was late. As always. Always late, forever in trouble. The other kids called Molly Accident Zone, or Zono, because she was so clumsy and accident-prone. Her other nicknames were Drono, since people said Molly's voice made them want to fall asleep, and Bog Eyes, because her eyes were dark green and close together. Only Rocky, her best friend, and some of the younger orphans called her Molly. Molly put on her pajamas quickly and opened the bathroom door. Across the corridor, which was now being stampeded by children rushing downstairs, Molly saw Rocky's dark brown face, framed with black curls, beckoning her to hurry. As she crossed the corridor, 2 older boys, Roger Phippen and Gordon Boyles, pushed her roughly aside. "Get out of the way, Zono! Move it, Drono!" "Quick, Molly," said Rocky. "We can't be late again. Adderstone will have a fit. Mind you, then," he added, "she might first choke on her loose false teeth." Molly smiled. Rocky always knew how to cheer her up. He knew her so well. Both Molly and Rocky had arrived at Hardwick House 10 summers ago. A white baby and a black baby. Molly had been found in a cardboard box on the doorstep, while Rocky had been found in a baby carriage in the parking garage behind Briarsville Police Station. Miss Adderstone didn't like children, and most of all, she didn't like babies most. To her, they were noisy, smelly, squelchy creatures, and the idea of changing a diaper filled her with disgust. Me, though. So Mrs. Trinkleberry, a widow from the town, had been employed to look after Molly and Rocky, and because Miss Trinkleberry named children after clothes, or the carriers that they arrived in, like Moses Wicker, who'd been found in a wicker basket, or Satin Knight, who'd come dressed in a nightie with satin ribbons, Molly and Rocky were given exotic names too. Molly's surname, Moon, had come from the moon's marshmallows, which had been printed in pink and green on the sides of her cardboard box cradle. When Miss Trinkleberry found a lolly stick in the box, she called the baby Lolly Moon. And after Miss Adderstone forbid Lolly as a name, Lolly Moon became Molly Moon. Rocky's name came directly from his red baby carriage. On the hood had been written "The Scarlet Rocker." Rocky's deep, husky baby voice, together with his good looks, made Miss Trinkleberry say that one day he'd be a rock star, singing love songs to ladies, and so she named the baby boy Rocky Scarlet. Miss Trinkerberry wasn't very clever, but her sweet center made up for her simple nature, and it was very lucky that she had taken care of Molly and Rocky when they were little, because with only bitter Miss Adderstone in charge, they might have grew up thinking that the whole world was bad, and maybe have turned bad themselves. Instead, they were bounced on fat Miss Trinkerberry's knee, and they fell asleep to her singing. She made them laugh and wipe their tears when they cried. And at night, if they ever asked why they had been doorstep babies, she told them that they were orphans because a naughty cuckoo had knocked them out of their nests. Then she sung them a mysterious lullaby. It went like this: "Forgive little birds that brown cuckoo for pushing out of your nests. It's what Mamma Cuckoo taught it to do. She thought that pushing is best." If Molly or Rocky ever felt cross with their parents, whoever they were, for abandoning them, Miss Trinkerberry's song would make them feel better. However, Miss Trinkerberry didn't live at the orphanage anymore. As soon as Molly and Rocky were out of diapers, she'd been sent away. Now she came back only once a week to help with the cleaning and laundry, and the older children had to take care of the younger ones. Night was drawing in. In the distance, Molly heard the squawk of the cuckoo clock in Miss Adderstone's rooms striking 6. "We're really late," she said, tearing her dressing gown from a hook on the door. "She's going to have a tantrum," Rocky agreed, as they sprinted down the passage. Expertly, they skidded around a corner on the polished floor and long jumped down the stairs. Quietly, they tiptoed across the checkered stone floor of the hall past the TV room and toward the oak-paneled assembly room. They slunk in. 9 children, 4 of them under 7 years old, were lined up along the walls. Molly and Rocky joined the end of the line near 2 friendly 5-year-olds, Ruby and Jinx, hoping that Miss Adderstone hadn't reached their names on the register yet. Molly glanced at the unfriendly older faces opposite her. Hazel Hackersley, the meanest girl in the orphanage, narrowed her eyes at Molly. Gordon Boyles made motion of cutting his throat with an imaginary knife. "Ruby Abel," read Miss Adderstone. "Yes, Miss Adderstone," piped up the tiny Ruby beside Molly. "Gordon Boyles." "Here, Miss Adderstone," said Gordon, making a face at Molly. "Jinx Eames." "Yes, Miss Adderstone," the little boy said. "Roger Fibbin." "Here, Miss Adderstone," said the tall, thin boy who stood next to Gordon, eyeing Molly maliciously. "Hazel Hackersley." "Here, Miss Adderstone." Molly was relieved. Her name was next. "Jerry Oakley." "Here, Miss Adderstone," said the 7-year-old Jerry, thrusting his hand into his pocket, where he could feel his pet mouse trying to escape. "Cynthia Redmond." "Here, Miss Adderstone," said Cynthia, winking at Hazel. Molly wondered when her own name would pop up. Miss Adderstone seemed to have skipped it. "Craig Redmond." "Here, Miss Adderstone," grunted Cynthia's twin. "Gemma Patel." "Here, Miss Adderstone." "Rocky Scarlet." "Here," said Rocky. Miss Adderstone slammed the register shut. As usual, Molly Moon is not here. "I am here now, Miss Adderstone." Molly could hardly believe it. Miss Adderstone must have read her name out first to intentionally catch her out. "Now doesn't count," said Miss Adderstone, her lips twitching. "You'll be on dishwashing duty tonight. Edna will be pleased to have the night off." Molly squeezed her eyes tight shut with regret. After the last blessing prayer, the dinner gong sounded, and the heavy dining room door swung open. The orphans shuffled through it, welcomed tonight by the disgusting smell of old fish. They'd seen the fish early that week, lying in plastic crates in the alley outside the kitchen, scuttling with flies and beetles, and everyone knew that Edna, the orphanage cook, would have baked the fish in a thick, greasy cheese and nut sauce to disguise its rotten taste, a trick that she'd learned in the Navy. There Edna stood now, broad and muscular, with her curly gray hair and flattened nose, ready to make sure every child ate up. With that tattoo of a sailor on her thigh, although this was only a rumor, and her terrible language, Edna was like a grumpy pirate. Every single child felt nervous and sick as they stood in line while Edna slopped out smelly helpings. "I'm allergic to fish, Edna," said Molly. "Load of bleeding, Codswallop," came Edna's gruff reply, as she wiped her nose on her overall sleeve, then dolloped out an extra helping. "It is Cod's wallop," Molly whispered to Rocky, looking down at her fish. The idea that something special might happen to her tonight was now entirely gone. Instead, the evening was going to be just like all the others. There would be nothing good to eat, no treats, and the hours before bedtime would be laced with trouble. That was chapter 1. I will be reading another chapter in this video as well. So here we go. Chapter 2. Might do 2 more chapters. Might do two chapters if they're not too long. So chapter 2. Sometimes when bad luck comes your way, you think it will never end. Molly Moon often felt this way about her luck, which wasn't surprising since she was so often in trouble. If only she'd known that her luck was about to change, she might have enjoyed the following day. For by the end of it, all sorts of wonderful things were going to happen to her. But that morning, the moment she opened her eyes, Molly's day started to go horribly wrong. First, she was woken by a bell ringing loudly in her ear. Big-boned Hazel, Miss Adderstone's pet, liked to wake Molly up as violently as possible. "It's the cross-country races at school today, Bug Eyes, and that 50-word spelling test," she announced, scraping her black hair back with her hand. She walked away, swinging her bell happily, delighted to have ruined Molly's morning. Rocky hadn't remembered the test either. He and Molly tried to catch up over breakfast, only to have their books confiscated by Miss Adderstone. Then Miss Adderstone took great delight in watching Molly clean the toilet with a toothbrush. By 8:30, Molly was feeling sick. The morning didn't improve on the way to school. On the road, one of the village boys threw a water bomb at Hazel. When she ducked, the water bomb hit Molly, exploding on impact and soaking her. As a result, Molly and Rocky missed assembly because they were trying to dry Molly's sweater and shirt on the radiator in the girls' locker room. They were also late for the first class. "Late, Miss Toadley," their teacher shouted as they entered the classroom. She pushed them to 2 worm-eaten desks in the front row. "And you missed assembly. I shall give you punishment later." "Achoo!" Miss Toadley had a small seizing fit, which was what always happened whenever she got worked up. Molly sighed. More punishment. Yay. Molly hated Miss Toadley, and she was glad that she looked so repulsive, blubbery-faced and half-bald, with a belly like a water-filled rubber bag. Her appearance served her right. Miss Toadley's seizing fits were usually good for cheating, but cheating together in today's spelling test was out of the question, as neither Molly nor Rocky knew the answers. The test was from the land of gobbledygook. Not only did the class have to spell the words, but they also had to give their meanings. Molly blundered through it, guessing the answers. When they had finished, Miss Toadley collected the tests and set to work marking them. She started with Molly's. Within seconds, her squealy, high-pitched voice whistled through the classroom, followed by a succession of loud sneezes. Molly's stomach went tight as yet another telling off began. "You got notorious wrong." "Achoo! There's no E in it, and it usually means famous in a bad way. And I must say that's you all over, isn't it, Molly? Eh? Molly's strength began to crack. After all, a person can only take much battering. She put on her best anti-tell-off armor and switched off. She had to stop Miss Toadley's cruel tongue hurting her. In her mind, she floated away from the classroom until Miss Toadley's ghastly tones were tiny and distant, as if coming down a telephone line, and the squirrely pattern on her stretchy skirt became a purplish-orange blur. "Molly Moon, will you listen to me for once, you useless girl?" Molly snapped back to the classroom. "I'm sorry if I have disappointed you, Miss Toadley. I'll try harder next time." Miss Toadley snorted and sneezed as she sat down. Molly gave the morning 10 out of 10 for dreadfulness, but in the afternoon something much worse happened. After lunch, Molly's class changed for the cross-country race. Molly couldn't find one of her sneakers, and she and Rocky had to look all over for it. Droplets of rain ran down the locker room windows as they searched. By the time they found it, the others were a long way ahead, and it was pouring rain. Rocky wanted to catch up, but the slippery ground made progress difficult. After running through the sludgy woods, Molly needed a break, so they sat down on a bench under the tree for a little rest. Their sneakers were sodden and their legs were cold and wet. Come on, Rocky said. Let's start again, otherwise we'll be way behind. Why don't we just go back? Suggested Molly. Molly, said Rocky irritatedly. Do you want to get in trouble? You're crazy. I'm not crazy, I just don't like running. Oh, come on, Molly. Let's just keep going. No, I just don't feel like it. Rocky tilted his head and looked searchingly at her. He'd been late to school that morning because of Molly, and now she wanted to get them into even more trouble. Molly, he said, exasperated, if you don't come, they'll probably make us go around twice. Why don't you just try? Because I'm no good at it, and I don't want to. Rocky stared at her. You could be good at running, if you tried. If you got better at running, you'd like it, but you won't even try. Rocky looked up at the rain clouds above them. It's the same with lots of things we do. If you're not good at them, you just give up. And then you're not good at them more, so you don't try more. And then you're even worse at them. And then, oh, shut up, Rocky. Molly was tired, and the last thing she wanted was a lecture from her best friend. In fact, she was shocked that Rocky should even bother. He was normally so easygoing and tolerant. If anything annoyed him, he'd just ignore it, or wander away from it. And then, continued Rocky, you'd get into trouble. He took a big, fed-up breath. And you know what? I'm sick of you being in trouble. It's as if you like it. It's as if you want to get yourself into more and more unpopular. Molly's heart jolted in amazement as his unexpected words stung her. Rocky never criticized her. Molly was furious. You're not so popular yourself, Rock Scarlet, she retorted. That's because I'm usually with you, Rocky said matter-of-factly. Maybe, actually, it's because no one likes you much either, Molly snapped. I mean, you're not perfect. You're so dreamy, it's like you live on a different planet. And you're not exactly reliable. Sometimes I have to wait hours for you to turn up. I know my camera's moving, by the way. It's just me breathing. Where was I? Oh, yes. Sometimes I have to wait hours for you to turn up. Like yesterday, I waited ages for you by the school lockers. And you're so secretive, you're almost sneaky. I mean, where were you yesterday after school? Recently, you've been disappearing all the time. People may think I'm weird, but they think you're just as strange. You're like a weird wandering minstrel. Still, they like me more than they like you, that's for sure, Rocky muttered. What did you say? I said, Rocky said loudly, they like me more than they like you. Rocky stood up, giving Rocky the filthiest look she could. I'm leaving, she said. Now that I know you think you're so much better than me. And you know what, Rocky? You can run up and catch up to the others. Go and make yourself more popular. Don't let me hold you back. Oh, don't get so worked up. I was only trying to help you, said Rocky, frowning. But Molly was enraged. It was as if something inside her had suddenly broken. She knew she was less popular than Rocky, but she didn't want to hear it. It was true that everyone bullied her, and no one ever bullied Rocky. He was untouchable, confident, difficult to upset, and happy with himself. Hazel and her gang steered clear of him, and he had plenty of friends at school. Molly hated him now for betraying her. She glared at him, and he puffed his cheeks out at her in an "oh, you drive me crazy" way. Same to you, too, and you look like a stupid blowfish like that. Perhaps some of your new friends will find it clever. As she stamped away from him, she yelled, I hate this place. In fact, I can't think of a worse place to be in the world. My life is just horrible. My voice is starting to hurt. And we're up to chapter 3, guys. On this page right here, chapter 3. So I will see you all in the next episode. I'm hoping to get this uploaded tonight. If it's not uploaded tonight, it'll be uploaded tomorrow morning when I wake up. So yeah, I don't know how long I'm gonna be staying up tonight, but it is 11:03. Last night I did stay up until like 4 in the morning. Just reading my book. So yeah. Maybe in the next episode I'll be I'll be somewhere different. So yeah, I will see you in the next episode. Bye!